Hi, everyone. A very warm welcome. Thank you for joining us for the first in Aracari's new Masterclass series. So we'll just give it another minute or two before we begin to let a few more people join. So as you'll know, today's session is going to be focused on a question we often hear at Aracari. Luxury family travel to Peru and South America. Is it right for you and your family? So that's exactly the question that we'll explore over the next half an hour or so. So, before we dive in, I'll just briefly introduce myself. I'm Alice, and I head up Aracari's marketing, looking after all things social, content, storytelling. So, if you've found us online before or you receive our newsletters, it's likely that our paths have already crossed. So just a few quick housekeeping notes before we begin. So the session will be hosted by Marisol Mosquera, founder of Aracari. Please keep your microphones muted just whilst we go through this session. Just in terms of duration, it'll be around 20 minutes of conversation with Marisol, hearing about various different subjects related to our theme today. And if you have any questions throughout, please just use the Q&A function. You'll be able to drop comments in there, questions throughout, and then we'll answer them at the end. So, without further ado, I'm delighted to hand you over to Marisol, who'll be guiding us through today's conversation. So, Marisol, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Alice. Hello and welcome. I'm Marisol Mosquera, and I'm thrilled to have you here for this special session hosted by Aracari. Today's topic is one that is very close to my heart and one I get asked about all the time. Luxury family travel to Peru and South America. Is it right for you? Firstly, I wanted to share a little bit about me. I founded Aracari nearly 29 years ago. I'm Peruvian, but I was raised in Spain and studied and worked my first years both in the US and the UK. From the time I set up Aracari way back in 1996, we looked after guests traveling with children and teenagers. But I, as other members of the team who are parents do as well, have personal experience about traveling with young children. I have a 22-year-old son now who has traveled with me to Peru and South America since he was a toddler. So I have lived through travel with a kid spanning all age groups. I will be delighted to answer your questions at the end of the session. Just as Alice said, just pop them in the chat or the Q&A and we will make sure we tackle them at the end. Maybe you're dreaming of Machu Picchu with your kids, but you don't know if they would enjoy it or whether it will be a major undertaking to bring them along. Or perhaps what the cutoff age is. Same with watching wildlife in the Amazon and many other destinations such as Iguazu Falls or Patagonia or the Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia, or just wondering, can I really do this as a family and still enjoy it? If you're asking yourself, is it safe to travel with children? What are the best ages to go? Will my kids be engaged? How long should we travel for? What are the best things to do? Then you're in the right place. So let's dive in. First, a bit about South America. South America is a vast and diverse continent that stretches from the Caribbean Sea in the north to the windswept southern tip of Patagonia, which you can't really see in the map, but it's there. It encompasses 12 countries, of which Aracari offered trips in 8. Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Uruguay. Covering roughly 17.8 million square kilometers, South America is more than twice the size of the European Union, offering travelers an extraordinary range of landscapes and cultures across its expansive territory. The continent is home to some of the planet's most iconic natural and geographical wonders. The Andes, the world's longest continental mountain range, runs along its western edge, while the Amazon River winds through dense rainforest, the largest tropical forest on Earth. From the salt flats of Bolivia and the glaciers of Patagonia to the Galapagos Islands and the Atacama Desert, South America offers unparalleled biodiversity and dramatic contrast in scenery. This natural richness makes it an exceptional destination for families seeking both adventure and cultural immersion. Getting to South America is easier than ever with numerous direct flight options from both the USA and Europe. From the US, major hubs like Miami, Houston, Atlanta, and New York offer daily nonstop flights to Lima, Peru, as well as other gateways like Bogota, Santiago, and Buenos Aires. In Europe, Madrid and Amsterdam provide excellent connections to Peru and beyond, with LATAM, Iberia, Air Europa, and KLM offering reliable service. These routes make it convenient for families to begin their South American adventures with minimal layovers and smooth international access. South America's vast geography means that the best time to visit depends on the region. Generally, the dry season from May to October is ideal for exploring the Andes, including Peru and Bolivia, with clear skies and pleasant temperatures. Patagonia is best visited in the southern hemisphere summer, from November to March, while destinations near the equator, like the Amazon or Colombia, are warm year-round with occasional rain. Overall, there's always a perfect destination in season somewhere on the continent. But why even consider South America for family travel? South America is vibrant, diverse, and packed with family-friendly magic. It offers awe-inspiring landscapes, cultural immersion, a warm, welcoming people, and experiences that feel like adventures, not just vacations. In Peru, the highlights for kids are learning about Inca history through hands-on experiences such as painting, ceramics, and weaving, outdoor activities such as river rafting, hiking and trekking, exploring the desert in a sand boogie, or surfing in the Pacific Ocean. In Argentina and Chile, in Patagonia or Salta, horse riding would be a highlight, but also going to see penguins and whales in Argentina, sea lions of the Pacific, and condors soaring in the Andes of Peru and Chile, and the wonderful wildlife in the Amazon. And of course, llamas and alpacas almost everywhere. In Colombia, learning to make chocolate, enjoying the lovely Caribbean beaches, and exploring the local music. In Ecuador, you have wonderful markets and hacienda rides. And above all, it is here where you come to go to the Galapagos. Worth pointing out, there are fantastic hotels, lodges, and boutique properties throughout to suit every taste, as well as top-of-the-line camping and glamping options. So if you're seeking connection, exploration, and comfort, South America is a phenomenal option. Is it safe to travel with children? This is probably the number one concern, and rightly so. Let me reassure you, when you work with professionals who understand the region, travel in Peru, Chile, Argentina, or Ecuador, or Brazil is very safe, even with kids. We use private guides, private drivers, and trusted hotel partners. Your transportation, lodging, and even restaurant choices are carefully curated. We avoid risky or overly remote areas. And we always build flexibility and contingency plans, especially for the little ones. Medical care is always a phone call away, and I would like to elaborate on this topic because many are concerned. Altitude sickness and stomach bugs are some of the classic ailments and what our guests worry about, and rightly so. Both can impact adults as well as children. The short answer is that both can be prevented, and if they hit you, we will be there to take care of you. In the planning stages of your trip, we will advise you how to ensure you prevent altitude sickness. The key is allowing time to acclimate and drink a lot of liquids. Keep hydrated. We will plan your trip so you climb gradually to altitude and have enough rest time in order to minimize symptoms. Stomach bugs happen when you go to a foreign country, and more likely if you like to taste the delicious food. Again, easily preventable. Eat light at altitude and advise the youngsters to do the same. Make sure you always wash your hands thoroughly and avoid too much spice, especially at the beginning of your trip. Once you're traveling for a few days, you will be more resilient, and we thoroughly recommend to delve into the local cuisine, which is one of the highlights of the continent. South American hospitality is family-oriented. Children are not just welcome, they are embraced. And so, what are the best ages for kids to travel to South America? I personally like to say that travel is magical at every age, but the experience changes. The first thing that you need to think about and let us know is what your kids are like. What are they into? Are they into natural phenomena, animals, arts, crafts? Are they physically active, or do they tire easily? Experiences to suit every different type of kid are possible in South America, given the varied attractions on offer. This is why the first thing to think about is to discuss these matters with us. At Aracari, the children and teenagers are our guests too, so we personalize the experience to them as well. In Peru and South America, you can find almost everything for a family holiday. A mixture of cultural interaction, learning, and adventure. Explore the fascinating archaeology in Cusco and Machu Picchu, or the cloud forest or rainforest in Ecuador, Peru, or Brazil. Explore and learn art, history by partaking in ceramics, painting, or weaving lessons, or just simply being immersed and exposed in the wonder of a new country and culture and language. Ages 6 to 12 are the sweet spot, where children are curious, open, and adaptable. Teenagers, great for more adventurous activities like hiking, biking, wildlife spotting. And under 5, it's doable, but we recommend slower pacing and extra support. Think about your children's personalities, not just their ages. Some 7-year-olds love archaeology, others prefer llamas. Either way, we've got options for you. Will my children be entertained? Here's the fun part. And yes, they will. We design trips with children's energy, imagination, and curiosity in mind. Here are just a few examples. Making chocolate from cacao beans in the Amazon, camping in luxury tents under the Andean stars, riding horses through the Sacred Valley, visiting artisan villages and learning how to weave, or boating with naturalists in the Galapagos. This isn't about dragging kids through museums. It's hands-on, immersive, and alive. At Aracari Travel, we believe that exceptional guiding is at the heart of every unforgettable journey. For families, this means working with guides who are not only deeply knowledgeable, but also engaging, adaptable, and experienced in working with children and young travelers. We hand-select each guide with great care, ensuring they have the warmth, patience, and storytelling skills to spark curiosity and bring each destination to life for all ages. As one of our recent guests put it, don't let the ages of your children stop you and slow you down. Our guide was almost like a nanny for our family. She kept the kids entertained just as much as she kept the adults entertained. It was like we had an extra adult with extra hands who was taking care of all of us. So how long should a family trip be? Good travel isn't rushed, in our view, especially with kids. So for Peru only, we recommend 10 to 12 days minimum if you want to visit the basic sites like Lima, Sacred Valley, Cusco, and Machu Picchu, plus another destination, possibly Lake Titicaca or the Amazon. But you can travel for a week if just stick to the most important sites. And the same goes for other single country trips. If you instead want to explore 2 countries, like say Peru and Brazil, Argentina and Chile, or Colombia and Ecuador, aim for 14 to 18 days, especially if you have to fly from country to country. South America is large and you need to allow time to travel. We also plan strategic rest days and will advise you on the best country or region combinations best at your family's taste and requirements and the possible flight combinations. We will also ensure we slot in hammocks and hot springs or lounging by the pool so you don't burn out. A few examples of best family-friendly experiences that our clients love: cooking classes with Peruvian chefs, storytelling with shamans, visiting Inca ruins with treasure hunts for younger kids. This would be some of the cultural immersions. Nature and wildlife immersion would be spotting wildlife in the rainforest, penguins and condors in Patagonia, snorkeling with sea lions in the Galapagos. Or soft adventure, river rafting, zip lining, biking or hiking to a hidden waterfall, all with safety first, family certified guides. These aren't activities that children tolerate. They are experiences that they will remember forever. So, how to make it seamless and stress-free? Well, luxury family travel isn't about indulgence, it's about ease. So here's what makes the difference. Private, personalized itineraries, no big group tours. Hotels that welcome kids with larger and interconnecting rooms, early meals, pools, late checkouts, and early check-ins. Guides trained to work with families, storytellers, not just historians. Constant behind-the-scenes support so you can relax too. We make sure you have freedom without friction. So, my final thoughts and question for you: is luxury family travel to South America right for you? If you're looking for a trip that blends nature and culture, comfort and adventure, education and fun, then the likely answer is yes. The key with working with someone who understands the region, your family's needs, and how to balance the two. We'd love to help you explore what your journey could look like, whether it's next year or someday soon. And now we will be happy to answer your questions. So Alice, on to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marisol. So, yeah, over to our attendees. If you'd like to drop any questions into the Q&A box that should just be below, then we can answer questions, whether it's around specific destinations, your particular family dynamic. Is it a multi-generational family? Have you got young children, etc.? So, yeah, we'll give you a minute or so to drop a question into the box. Okay, so we've had a question related to vaccines. So we would love to travel to Peru with as a family. Do we need vaccines before to travel and enter Peru?
Yes, there's no direct, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are no compulsory vaccines to travel, but there are some recommended vaccines, but no compulsory ones. Yellow fever is recommended for the rainforest, and if you want to take malaria pills as well.
And obviously as you were saying, Marisol, our travel designers are very much on hand throughout this we send full pre-departure documents that advise on everything that needs to happen beforehand, including things related to vaccinations and health.
Absolutely.
Cool. So we've also had one asking around what areas of the rainforest do you think were most suitable for young children? Is there specific areas that you think people would travel to with particularly young children, or is the Amazon accessible to families, children of various ages? Is there different ways we can help design the Amazon for different ages?
Yeah, I think that the Amazon, uh, what age are we talking about? Any age?
Well, just sort of saying for young children, is the Amazon appropriate? So I guess if we think maybe under 12.
Under 12, yeah, it's completely possible. You can go as young as 6.
Mm,
And you know, it depends on the lodge, and it depends on the boat that you go on, how comfortable you want it to be, how exposed you want, how resilient your child is to bugs, if they don't like, if they do, that sort of thing. It depends on the child. But yeah,
mhm.
it's completely possible. There are many lodges, many boats, many, yeah, absolutely, in different parts of the Amazon, of Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, and Colombia. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, a couple more. So, one person's asked, I have a nephew who's 10 years old. For a 10-year-old, which Inca Trail would Aracari recommend?
Well, it depends how fit the 10-year-old is. The Inca
And the
Trail,
parents, probably.
the parents, and the Inca Trail is a tough is quite tough, and I think that a 4-day Inca Trail would be a little bit tough for a 10-year-old, but it's doable. One of the first clients Aracari had was an 8-year-old who did the full Inca Trail, and he did very well. So it's just a matter of how fit they are. Possibly it would be better to start with a 1-day Inca Trail, no?
Mm,
But also it has to be said that there's a lot of very deep falls on the 1-day Inca Trail. So it has to it depends on the child and how resilient they are.
mhm.
There are other hikes that are probably more suited to children who are as young as 8, as 10.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple more questions. So one around, are there any particular recommendations for kids regarding altitude?
Any particular recommendations for kids regarding altitude? Well, the same as with adults, because altitude can hit kids as well as adults. There's no difference. I mean, some kids suffer a lot of altitude sickness. Acute altitude sickness is rare, both in adults and children. So I think that keeping hydrated, very hydrated, and ascending slowly to altitude are the two best, the key rules in order to prevent altitude sickness, and it shouldn't get to a serious level.
Mhm.
And then, in order to appease the symptoms that of drowsiness or tiredness, then basically you need to rest. You can't do a lot of activity, so that's important to plan the trip. So the beginning of the ascent to altitude is a little bit quiet. You can't be doing too much or eating too much.
Yeah. And then just another one related to the Amazon, actually, in terms of for families with children aged 10 to 12 looking for the Amazon, um, would you say a river cruise or staying at a lodge to explore the jungle?
Well, I think that it's fun if the children are active, and 10 to 12-year-olds tend to be quite active. It is more fun to be in a jungle lodge because
Hmm.
they walk around and they can climb. There's many of these lodges have observation towers. They also have very interesting programs, some of the lodges that we use, where they can do sort of scientific experiences, where they learn to find a new species, or they do spotting different sorts of wildlife, putting traps in trees and that sort of thing. I think that there's more possibilities for hands-on experiences.
Hmm.
But at the same time, lodge jungle cruises can also tailor the experiences they offer to the children, because they're very upscale, and so they will tailor whatever, and they will, if there's the possibility, they're going to take you to and create something for the child. So it's not, there's different,
Bespoke.
bespoke
Yeah,
kind. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so then just another one here. So this person has asked, is there a way to still go a bit off track to see real local customs and dance? Nowadays, a lot of the local events feel a bit played and it feels too commercial. Machu Picchu is obviously a must, but you can't unsee mass tourism.
Yeah, that's a good question. There's definitely in South America, there's definitely plenty of opportunities to see local customs and experience real local customs for sure in many parts of South America. If you go to the famous sites, you can also, it's hard to unsee the mass tourism, but it's also, there's ways to avoid it. So, in terms of the latter, you can go off season. You should definitely go off season. So you see Machu Picchu without the crowds. If you go in February, January, February, or March, you get a bit more rain, but you get a lot less people. So I would highly recommend going to the famous sites in off season. Go to Patagonia in shoulder season. Go in April or November, for example. It's magical.
Mm.
Not go during the peak season. So that's it in terms of the sites. And then seeing off the beaten path, you need time. If you want to go off the beaten path, you need to allow time to find the unexpected and time to get off the beaten path, because
Mm.
many of the places are far that offer authentic experiences, and there are no good roads. It takes time to get there. So doing off the beaten path in a rush it's a contradiction. That
Mm.
won't happen. In 7 days, you won't go off the beaten path, but it is possible.
Mm. Great. Any last takers for any more questions before we wrap this webinar up? No. No, I think we're
Well,
good. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And I think Marisol, I'll just pass back over to you before I close
yeah,
the
and
close the room.
this webinar is being recorded,
Yes,
so you will all receive the recording a couple of days after or tomorrow after
yeah.
the session. And if you'd like to start planning or just get a simple sample itinerary, just reach out. My team and I will be very happy to offer personalized advice based on your children's ages, your interests, and your travel goals. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this session has given you inspiration, confidence, and excitement for what's possible. And I hope you join us again into our next sessions, which are on the 9th of
And the
May,
eight.
the 8th of May, and the
Yeah,
22nd of May, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Covering the topics of
So
South.
the 8th of May will be on when and where to go in South America. So a sign of calendar year of the different highlights. And again, looking at the off the beaten track, the shoulder season, when we as experts recommend to travel. And then the 22nd of May is just a real deep dive into our signature luxury travel, Peru. So if you've already traveled with us to Peru and you've had friends or family ask about that trip, that final session will be a real deep dive into the signature Aracari style through Peru. So yeah, we hope that you join us or feel free to pass on the invitation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye, everyone.